Today is October 31st, 2019. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Dale W.T. Goines in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Sir, where were you born?
I was born in Bocoshi, Oklahoma in 1951. At home.
Okay. When's your birthday? What month?
11/27/51.
11/27. Okay. Who is your father?
Abe Goines.
Abe Goines.
He's passed away.
Okay. And your mother?
Beulah Goines. Beulah May Goines.
What was her maiden name?
Hers?
Yeah.
Mayhaw.
Mayhaw. Mayhaw.
I believe so.
Okay. Did you go through school in Bocoshi?
No. No, I started school in, where was the first place I started school? We lived out in the country, and I went to grade school in, Midway, Oklahoma. A little community school.
And that's far southeast Oklahoma.
South. Yes, southeast.
Is that
That's by Poto.
Yes. Okay.
At Latimer County, I think, was
Okay.
what.
Okay. Okay. And where'd you go to high school?
High school was Poto,
Poto.
Oklahoma.
You graduated what year?
I didn't.
You
I
didn't?
didn't graduate.
Okay.
Yeah. They were drafting. I went to the 10th grade.
Okay.
They were drafting everybody around, and I ended up going to Texas in 1968.
Okay.
64, I'm sorry, 1964. I went to Dallas to be with my brother.
Okay.
Ended up getting my GED. And then when they started drafting everybody around me, I went and joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I chose the service by the uniform.
What type of work did your father do?
He didn't. He was 65 when I was born.
Okay. Okay.
And he worked on the railroads, and coal mines and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, a
And
lot of coal mines and.
He passed away when I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay. Okay. When did you join the Marines?
I was recon.
I'm sorry.
Recon.
No. When did you join the Marines?
Oh, when did I join?
Yes.
It was 68. July 68, because I got out in 70 and I had a 3-year stretch.
July 1968. Why'd you join the Marines over the Army, Navy, or the Air Force?
The training, I figured with everything that was going on, I talked to a recruiter and he was talking about how much more advanced training that the Marine Corps did. And I thought, I'll have a better chance coming back if they send me overseas. And I fell in love with that dress blue uniform that you don't get, you have to buy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was just young, and I knew I was going to be drafted, and I was one of those kids that wanted a choice, so
Yes.
I just chose the Marine Corps.
Would you take your hat off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Where'd you go for boot camp?
San Diego.
Tell me about boot camp.
Well, it was something to get used to of, all the strict orders, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, PTing, and it was interesting. The Marine Corps, they called you everything but a white man. I mean, they called you had no idea who you was because they just pushed you around, and that's how I felt because I was 17 when I went in. My brother signed for me.
Okay.
And but then you get settled in and get used to it, and then the bond that you create with your company that you're with.
What type of training did you have in boot camp?
Just the normal training in San Diego, but from there I got sent to Camp Lejeune.
Okay. Now, how long did boot camp last?
Boot camp was 6 weeks.
Okay.
I think it was 6 weeks.
Tell me about your drill instructors.
I ended up with 2. I had one, he was just a he was a hard butt. He didn't cut no slack or nothing. And anyway, the tower rappel that we had to do was part of the training. Anyway, when I went to rappel off, I'd done it a bunch of times before, but he was rushing around. I didn't get hooked up. And when I stepped off the side, I just straight down 75 feet. And I messed up my ankles. He made me walk all the way back. We had to march all the way back to the barracks. And my feet looked like basketballs when I got there. I had to unlace my shoes before I ever got back. Like I said, he did not cut no slack or nothing. Well, the next morning, when he woke us up for PT, I told him, I said, there's no way I can do PT. I said, look at my feet. He said, if your boots goes on, you PT. And fortunately, I couldn't get my boots on. So anyway, they sent me to the infirmary, and I was on crutches for 6 weeks, and I got set back into another one. And he was a good instructor. Well, I'm not saying the other guy was bad. Mm-hmm. You know, he was just hard, but that's what keeps you alive, you know.
Besides that incident, what's your most vivid memory of boot camp?
Mount MF.
I'm sorry?
Mount MF. It was a hill that was probably, they built up, you know. Mm-hmm. It was probably about, I don't know, 120 feet, almost straight up, and trying to climb that.
And what's the name of it?
Mother Elf. You know, that's what they called it.
Okay.
Mount Mother Elf. I didn't want to say it. I had a bad mouth and got rid of it. You know how Marines were.
Yes.
But my memory of it was because I was there all day. Mm-hmm. The thing was just impossible to get up. I mean, you know, if you were standing up, your nose wouldn't be, if you could get standing up, wouldn't be 6 inches from the ground in front of you. That's how steep it was. But you had to stay there until you figured out a way to get on top of it, the discipline of it.
Yeah.
And I won't ever forget that because, like I said, I've never been so exhausted in all my life.
Yeah.
Just trying to climb that, trying to climb that hill.
So you were sent to Camp Lejeune from?
Camp Lejeune from San Diego.
Okay.
I was there for 3 months.
What did you do at Camp Lejeune?
We did all kinds of crazy training. They was putting a group together. We had no idea we was going to be sent straight to Vietnam.
Oh, I didn't ask. Did they have the yellow footprints at San Diego?
The yellow footprint?
When you get off the bus, they have all these yellow footprints.
Yeah. I won't forget that either at San Diego when we got off the bus because, you know, we were scared to death. A bunch of young kids, you know.
Now, what are the yellow footprints for?
You know, that was a long time ago. I barely remembered them until you said the bus, and then I remembered the footprints. And I'm really not sure. I don't remember what they really stood for.
Well,
but all they did was scream and holler at you when, you know, the minute we got off the bus. I mean, you know.
Some guy told me you had to fall in on the yellow footprints, put your feet on the footprints.
See, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, I was 17, so terrified.
Yes.
You know, little stuff like that, it kind of slips your mind. Okay. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Okay. So I'm sorry, back Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, we did special training. They tied our hands behind our back, tied our feet, and threw us in an 8-foot pool, in a swimming pool. And you had to bob up and down. And there was 30 of us went in, and there was only 3 of us that made it. And then they come and captured me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was 2 Vietnamese guys. And anyway, they took me off to this, they put a sack over my head, so, you know, it took us probably about 30 minutes to get there. And when they took the sack off, I was in this little shack and seen these 2 Vietnamese, you know, and they hung me up from a rafter. question. Of course, you only give your name, rank, serial number, and I won't ever forget that, because after I was there 33 hours, and my mom was telling me, this is real. I've been captured, I was exhausted. Anyway, that got over with, and then you go to the beach, and there's 12 of us that had to run down the beach with a telephone pole on your shoulder, and you had to switch arms as you're running down. Then our little 5-mile hike that we had in San Diego went to 25 miles at Camp Lejeune. So, needless to say, time all that was over with, I was in great shape.
Yeah.
Camp Lejeune was rougher than San Diego
Yeah.
could even think about.
And was it geared toward Vietnam?
It was geared for Vietnam. They was putting a team together, because when I got over there, the guerrillas that's what they called them. They was in teams of probably 20, and they was killing their own people, going through the villages because they thought they was hiding Americans. And
Are these Viet Cong? Or
these are Viet Cong.
Viet Cong.
Yeah, they called them they called them the guerrillas, which was they didn't want to, they was wanting to keep on fighting. And then they was punishing their own people because they thought they helped us. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And that's who we went after.
Okay. What's your most vivid memory of Camp Lejeune?
Camp Lejeune was when they captured me and had me in
Okay.
I won't ever forget it. And had me in the shed. They would talk in Vietnamese, and then when they tried to talk to me, of course, they was on the American side. They were there to take it.
Yes.
But, yeah, because that's when your mind tricked. First,
Yep.
I remember tricking me that, I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And I guess that's what they wanted, for you to take the circumstance. I ended up escaping. They gave me 2 choices: name, rank, serial number, escape. I escaped.
How'd you escape?
They finally, they dropped me down on a stool, and when it was loose, I just took both of them out and got unhooked and ran out the door. And I probably didn't go 100 feet. I had no idea where I was at. My mind was all messed up. I thought I was in Vietnam, And anyway, next thing I know, here comes Jeeps and helicopter and all kinds of stuff coming around there. And it was some colonel. And I wanted to know if I was all right, and they had the medics there and everything. Of course, they didn't beat me or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was something I won't never forget, because to me, I'd already been in Vietnam before I ever got there, in my mind that day.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I just had to bury.
Back to the swimming pool. You said only 3 made it when they're bobbing up and down.
No, 3 made it through the whole course, whole 3 months that the 90 days we were there. Out of 30 that came in, 3 of us is all that made it. Me, Gonzalez, and one other guy.
Okay. What happened to the other guys that didn't make it?
Well, they just got kicked out of the teams that they was putting together for there, and went back to, I guess, just regular Marines.
No. How many in a team?
Well, when I didn't know until I got to Vietnam.
Okay.
And they were 8.
Okay.
There were 8 of us in the team.
Okay.
that
Tell me
went.
about going to Vietnam.
Well, we flew part of the way, and then I ended up on a ship.
Where?
Crossing the equator. I think it was it USS Cleveland?
Where'd you get on the ship?
Got on the ship from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Okay.
And anyway, then they took us up, and we ended up.
Why'd you get on a ship
Dumping.
instead of flying to Vietnam?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on,
Okay.
because I remember being You know, I remember being on that ship for a while, crossing the equator, and they did that crazy
Oh, yeah. Yep.
slop and everything from the
Yep.
cafeteria and drug you through it and all that.
And go from a pollywog to a
Yeah.
shellback.
And then though, I ended up hitting the beach and in Da Nang. They got us over in Da Nang. And we just dug in there, waiting for orders for them to put everything together.
When did you
And,
land in Vietnam, do you recall?
Vietnam was in, I think it was July or August of '69, because it's probably July, because I remember talking about the fireworks and stuff.
Okay.
You're fixing to really see a fireworks show now.
And you say you were on the USS Cleveland? Is that the ship that took you to Vietnam?
Yeah, for a while. I was on there for, I think, about a week. Because you gotta remember, after I got to Vietnam, I started trying to erase when I got out.
Yeah.
But anyway, after I got to Da Nang, and we was waiting orders, they had us to dig in and stuff. And, I mean, that's a period I won't ever forget, because I was scared to death. I was 18.
How'd you dig in?
But we dug foxholes, you know, what they call
Were
the
you at the
foxholes.
beach or were you in from the beach?
No, we were in this compound. Da Nang was big. They had it was a big setup there with, I mean, they had everything there. I don't know if that was the relay or what for, and, but I knew I remember it being a big compound, but we was kind of off away from that. There was wires all up everywhere where we were at, where they had the perimeter set up. And anyway, we got dug in, and two of us in a foxhole. One would stay awake, while the other one would sleep, was taking shifts. Well, I stayed up the first whole 3 days. I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And anyway, when it come my time, I was exhausted. I ended up falling asleep on my watch. And I woke up with the sergeant of the arms, guard, emptied his magazine beside my ear. And that's how I came awake out of the foxhole.
Had you been assigned to a unit?
No, that's when we did. That's when we got assigned. Right after that, we got the orders and got our orders in, and this lieutenant met. We gathered up in front of the lieutenant there on what we was going to do. And anyway, the sergeant was there. Sergeant of the guard was there, and they was putting their input up to choose a squad leader. And the sergeant at arms said he'd make you a good squad leader, because I already prepped him for staying awake and alert. Said, I think he's ready. Which, after that, it was a 360 view everywhere I walked, everywhere I went from then till now. And anyway, they put me up squad leader, and we headed out. We
What
hit the
unit were
bush.
you with?
Well, it started out as 1st Marine Division. But when I got to Da Nang, after we left, I never seen any more Marines. I run across Army, we run across the artillery that was set up through there. We run across water tanks, all kinds of stuff, all out in the bush.
Okay.
But when we hit their trail, I don't know if we was attached. I don't know.
So
where.
from Da Nang, where'd you go?
Da Nang, we started down towards Way City.
Okay.
And that's where we ended up. We stayed out there in that bush pretty well the whole time.
What do you do in the bush?
We was doing recon, and we was trying to find they had booby traps set up everywhere, And anyway, after you're only supposed to be in the bush 30 days at a time. But anyway, they would come in, and they'd fly us out to a ship. We'd get a hot shower and stuff. But on recon, we stayed after what they call the guerrillas, and we were on their tail for 44 days, and we finally caught up with them.
Now, when you're in the bush, is it jungle or is it what is
Jungle,
bush?
rice paddies. I mean, it was just I mean, it was so thick. It was horrible. You could find little trails and stuff. They put us over next to the channel. We seen some CBs patrolling. Yeah, there was little channels out there through Vietnam that the CBs was patrolling in these boats.
Is this near Way City or where?
Between Way City and Da Nang.
Okay.
It's where we was somewhere between Da Nang and Way City.
Is that part of the Pearl River?
I'm not
So
sure.
the Pearl River goes through way out there somewhere.
It probably,
Yeah, okay.
you know, like I said, we were scared kids trying to stay alive and seen things that 18-year-old kids shouldn't have to see.
Now, when you're out in the bush, where are you headed? Do you have
We have a direction, you know, we had our corpsman or radio man, you know, and there was a lieutenant that was with us, which the one that got, for some reason, he got taken out and the new one put back in, and he almost got us killed. You know, he was fresh out of ROTC, and we'd already been out there for about 5 months, and you know, we wasn't greenhorns, you know, we figured out how to stay alive. But like I said, we was constantly on their trail. That was our mission.
okay. Now, when you're out in the bush, what kind of position do you set up at night?
Well, at night, we would dig in like, it actually ended up in monsoon season. I mean, we were waterlogged. You'd dig a hole and, you know, you'd get set up in it. And, you know, we had it covered 360. And it was so thick that where we were at, they would have had to step on us to found us, you know. And you didn't get much sleep, you know.
How do you stay dry in the monsoons?
You don't. We had the ponchos that we had over us, you know, and we'd get out in our foxhole, and we'd have that like an umbrella just around the foxhole, you know, between two of us. And you just hunker in through the night. But mostly at night is when we did our patrols.
Okay.
We'd go out at night on patrol. We thought we'd have, you know, a better chance of. And but in monsoon season, we didn't even try. I mean, you can't track nothing. And
Now, when you're out in the bush, do you have an LZ or a base camp that you're?
the only base camps we run across when we was out in the bush was we ran across the Army base camp that they had perimeter set up that we got supplies from, you know, got ammunition.
I was going to ask
And-
how were you resupplied?
Well, they made drops. A couple of times they made drops.
Okay.
And our shoes was destroyed, and they made a drop. But like I said, a lot of times we'd run across the Army that was set up, you know, and then we'd run across the artillery. We'd come, you know, end up coming across them. And it was funny with us. We feel like we're on our own, you know, because we didn't see any other Marines. You know, it was mostly Army.
Now, who walked point on patrol?
I did.
You did.
I walked point.
And what
We
is
walked
walking
in the
point?
triangle.
What is walking point?
What is walking point? Well, I was the type that I wouldn't ask my guys to do anything that I wouldn't do, you know. So, I mean, I was just one that took directions. I took point, you know.
Because you're the first guy
And
out
I'm
there.
the first guy
Yes,
out.
okay.
I was the first one out.
How do you know where you're going?
Well, we had the compasses and we had our map. Oh, and that, and we had a Vietnamese that was on our side.
Okay.
That was an interpreter in case we run across anybody. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
And he helped on directions, you know. And we just had a direction that we had to go, and in that, and when we seen a trail, it may change of what we thought might be the guerrillas.
Okay. What type of booby traps you find out there?
Oh gosh, we found one that it was a square hole. It was full of bamboo, sharpened bamboo down in the bottom of the bamboo. We found what they called swinging mattresses that where they'd been set off, and they'd swing down, and it was just a mattress of bamboo sharpened that they just had built up. It was about 5 foot long when it swung down, and it's probably about 4 foot wide, just full of bamboo that they had sharpened up. And if you trip the wire, you know, it's going to come down on you. And then if you step right, I mean, them guys could booby trap anything. I mean, you know, sea rations, Kansas left behind. You didn't pick up nothing. And helmets where you'd run across, you know. And they would just booby trap everything. But that was where a lot of them got hurt at, was in the booby traps.
Yeah.
But they take those bamboo and turn them into, you know, just razor sharp pins. And then the ones that you step, the smaller ones that you would step in, when you hit the bottom of the bamboos, another deal would come up and clamp your foot. And when you try to yank it out, it dismembered you where it'd slow you down. I mean, it'd tear your foot off if you weren't careful. But they wounded a lot of soldiers with their booby traps, wounded and killed. Fortunately, we didn't find any of our men, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
we just run across the booby traps.
So, what's the longest you were out there in the bush?
To me, it seemed like forever, but I think the longest I was in the bush was 58 days before we got a 3-day break, which they called a break. Because what they'd do is a chopper would come in, take us to the nearest ship, or to an army company, whatever was closest to us, so we could shower. You know, my clothes would have stood up by themselves when we took them off.
Now, did your recon team have a number? Was it recon team?
I'm sure it did. I don't remember. Like I said, there's a lot of that I really suppressed.
Okay. When you were in the 1st Marine Division?
I started in the 1st Marine Division, is where all this started out.
Okay. Now, you mentioned being picked up by helicopter
Yes.
in a hot zone.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, we had run we was out of everything, all the supplies, but we managed to get away from the, you know, far enough away from the hot zone that we felt fairly safe. But we didn't have any kind of supplies. We actually had killed snakes before and ate snakes, cooked snakes, because we run out of food. And anyway, that's when Larry Williams, Army chopper, came in and got us.
How'd you contact him?
Well, we contacted a Marine. He happened to be listening in on I don't know if they used the same, I don't know what the deal was. We were all on the same side, and he's the one that came back when the Marines refused to come in.
What? Tell me what happened.
Well, he told us when we called in for the Marines, they said it was too hot, which we had managed to get away from, because there's only 8 of us. We can't start a war with 300 gooks, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a chance. I mean, that was our job, to find them, report back, air support come in, whatever, you know. And anyway, we were hungry, we were tired, and we called in the Marines. They said it was too hot, and that's when Williams, for the very first time, that's when Williams came back. Asked where we was and told us to be at a certain place. And he said, be there in, 7 minutes, whatever. And we would find a coordinates, he said, take off, and ended up being in a little clearing. And he came down, we jumped in, and he boogied out. We ended up on another, and I have no idea where it was at, another Army base with him. And then after we freshened up, Rested a couple of days, we started back again. We had a lot of backtracking because we'd be so far. And when something like that would happen, we had to start all over again.
Now, where's the one where he got shot?
That was the third evac.
What happened?
And we was real close to Way City. We were out on patrol, and we were on the trail, and all of a sudden I went down. And I thought I tripped, but when I went down, my squad just surrounded me, you know, their backs to me, and the corpsmen come in. And we could hear firing way off in the background. You know, something was going on. I mean, it was like popcorn, but it was quite a ways away. Well, apparently one of the stray bullets that came in and got me right there in my knee.
Yeah.
Still got the scar. And it was just enough to go through my pants, my skin, and enough power that it made me, you know, sort of trip and fall. I mean, I don't think it's powerful enough to knock me down,
Yeah.
but that's what made me fall down. Corpsman just sliced my pants leg, popped it out, put 2 or 3 stitches in it right there, bandaged around it, and we went on our way. But from that, we called in another evac, same thing. Marines wouldn't come and get us, and Williams showed up again, told us to be such and such a place, and that's when they caught us as we was trying to get away. They seen us, and there was a lot of firing going on. And anyway, he landed. He was hovering. They didn't touch the ground. And anyway, we jumped in. The machine gunner was keeping us safe while we were running to the plane. And we got on, and that's when I noticed he was shot.
Now, you mentioned the blood.
Yeah, when they pulled me in the chopper, when I went to get in the chopper, the machine gunner stuck his arm out like that, and he'd done like this. And when I slid in, I fell right by the Williams seat in a puddle of blood. And like I said, we didn't know whose it was. I thought, you know, we were scared. We was running for our lives. And that was his. It was his blood. And then right after that, it wasn't too long, I went home. And his next run.
Did he survive, Williams?
He survived. Yeah, he lost blood, but it wasn't it wasn't a deadly wound because it got him in his thigh.
Yeah.
And it must have hit his bone, came out his hip. And anyway, when he landed at the Army base and everything, well, my time was getting up, and they was working me back to Da Nang, and that was right on the skirts of Way City. And I visited him when he was in the sick bay there at the camp, you know. And they patched him up, and he said, I got to get back out there. There's men I got to save, you know, and everything. Anyway, I was there about a week, managed to work my way back to Da Nang to get home. And I was fixing to get a commercial flight, and I heard he got shot down and killed.
When you went through a village, what was the attitude of the villagers toward the Americans?
The women and the young people that was there, they was glad to see us, you know. And the guerrillas had already been there. You know, they had already went through, disrupted the village. And like I said, the little kids were like, chocolate, you know, running up to you. And you were scared to death because you heard stories where they booby-trapped the little kids, you know. But like I said, they were glad to see us. So we would search to make sure that the guerrillas wasn't hiding there, but they was willing to share whatever they had with you. Like I said, they were happy to see the Americans.
Now, who were the guerrillas?
The guerrillas was the Vietnamese that had put their own little groups together that, you know, they just wasn't ready to give up.
Well, they were Viet Cong?
They were Viet Cong,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, they'd go through the villages?
They was going through the villages because trying to find us, the Americans, because if the Americans would come up on the village and if they were coming in, the village people would hide the Americans. And they would come up and go through there, and they were just so angry. Sometimes they would kill their own, kill their own people, rape the women. I mean, it was horrible. They weren't human. They were just ruthless.
You ever catch up with the guerrillas?
Yeah, we caught up with them. There were 5 of them just before Way City.
What'd you do with them?
We killed them. Didn't ask no questions. We didn't answer to anybody.
How could you tell the guerrillas from the regular Vietnamese?
They wore headbands. Most of them wore headbands. And then you could just, you could tell the way they was acting. The regular village people, if you come up on the village, the regular village people would run out and welcome you, and everything. But if you came up on the village and they were all hiding, and you knew that somebody was there,
Yeah.
and that's how we caught them, was we happened to see one that was hiding, and that was one of the deals. He had a headband on. And all the other ones was, of course, our job was to protect the civilians that was there in the village. But, I mean, they had nothing but grass huts and everything. There ain't nothing to hide behind in one of them, except to block your view. Wouldn't stop a bullet.
How long were you in Vietnam?
Because they grabbed me out once and I lost 2 weeks. From July of '69 to, I think it was about February of '70. They come in to get a guy to be on Price is Right. I couldn't believe it. I was on the ship on a 3-day R&R, or whatever you want to call it. And anyway, they come in, grabbed me out of the bunk, didn't know what was going on, grabbed my stuff, threw me on the shot chopper, run me over to aircraft carrier, shot me off of that in a little 2-man seater to another area, ended up back in Hong Kong. And when I reported to the ship, handing the papers, he said, "Are you Sergeant so-and-so?" I said, "No, I'm Corporal Goines." And he said, "We got to figure this out. We either got the wrong papers or we got the wrong guy." Well, they had the wrong guy. Well, guess what? They wouldn't send me back to my outfit until the papers came from there to me. My whatever you want to call them, shipping papers. You was in the service. You know how screwy they can get with stuff. Anyway, it's crazy. Well, anyway, I ended up with a vacation there in Hong Kong and got to run around, and I got all cleaned up and everything. And finally, about 12 days later, my papers show up, and I thought taking off the ship was bad. Landing was even worse. And so I had to stay over, and I ended up getting out of Vietnam in June of 1970.
Okay.
I landed they got me back to Los Angeles, and I was treated so bad in Los Angeles, and ashamed that I ever did anything that
What happened in Los
did.
Angeles?
Oh God, they spit on us. They called us baby killers, and they throwed stuff at us. They was there at the airport. People that was protesting against it. We was doing their job. We wasn't, Anyway, when I left the airport, and my brother picked me up I got back, I threw all my stuff away. I just threw it out in the trash, everything, sea bag, uniform, everything. Put on the only civilian clothes I had. And anyway, my sister-in-law went and got everything out, which I didn't know it, not until 2002. I wouldn't have had anything.
Yeah. What's your most vivid memory of Vietnam?
Vietnam, the smells. You know, we run across the area that you could smell burning flesh. It's something you'll never forget.
Yes.
Because there was other Army guys that was out. They'd run across these tunnels, you know, and they had these flamethrowers and stuff going on. And the odors, I think, it was just a hellish, stinking place.
Yes. When are you discharged?
When
Yeah.
I got discharged in, I got back to the States in June. I went through what they called a debrief, and they sent me to McAllister, Oklahoma. And I stayed there waiting for my papers about 3 weeks, and in that period of time is when I met my wife, 3 weeks before I got out.
In McAllister, you were
McAllister, Oklahoma is where they dropped me off from Dallas. When I
at
left Dallas,
at the ammo dump or what?
at the ammo dump.
Yeah. What'd you do there?
And nothing. I was waiting for my papers. I didn't get all they gave me was a card to eat.
Yeah.
So I could go mess hall and eat.
So you were discharged in June of 70?
In, I believe it was June of 1970, because, no, I met my wife in August. So I was in Dallas. They dumped me in Dallas in June.
Okay.
June was when I got back to
Okay.
California, and I went through all that mess, and then I got to, about July, I ended up back in Dallas around my brother. And then, because I met her in August, so August is when they dumped me in McAllister
Okay.
to get me close to where
Yeah.
my family was.
Okay.
That was the closest they could get.
So you were discharged in August of 70?
I was discharged in August, sometime in
okay.
August, because I met my wife and we got married in December.
Yeah,
40,
okay.
almost 49 years ago.
Yeah. Would you join the Marines again?
I don't know. As far as the proudness and what they made me, you know, but if I had to go back to war, because I never left it,
Yeah.
it followed me.
Oh, yeah.
If I had to go back,
Why were we in Vietnam?
you know, that's the question that so many people was asking. When we were there, it was never thought about, because we was just trying to stay alive, you know, and do our jobs. When we got out, we asked that question, and everybody thought it was a senseless war. You know, it lingered on for so long. But see, it was dwindling down. That's why they put the force together. When I got over there, it was pretty well about, you know, under control, except for these stupid things they called the guerrillas.
Yeah. What about the wildlife over there in Vietnam?
Water buffaloes and snakes and leeches. Because we killed a water buffalo and tried to eat it, and you can't eat a water buffalo. And that's about the only thing I remember as far as animals. I don't remember birds. You didn't see no dogs, because they ate their dogs and cats if there were any. They killed them and ate them. And I had a picture of me and my squad where we killed a boa constrictor or whatever, those giant snakes they have over there. And we were holding it stretched out about, I don't know, it was probably stretched out about 12, 14 feet. And we tried to eat it, which we did. We actually cooked and ate it. But snakes, buffaloes, that's and leeches.
Yeah.
Because we crossed a little creek, and we got some on us, and the lieutenant smoked cigars, and that's how we got them all.
Yeah.
He lit him up a cigar. And
Yeah. I'd like to do a word association. I'll give you some words and you give me your reaction. The first one is boot camp.
Boot camp. Torture. When you're 17, you think of it as torture. Getting you in shape.
Yeah. Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, nightmare.
Da Nang.
Da Nang, hell.
Recon.
Recon. I don't know how you label that. Important mission.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. I'd have to say hell again.
Guerrillas.
Gorillas. Purity demons. Devils.
War protester.
Rural protester. Ignorance.
Ho Chi Minh.
I think I've heard that. If I have, I don't remember.
He's the head of North Vietnam. He was the head of North Vietnam.
Then?
Ho Chi Minh. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Okay. Lyndon Johnson.
Leonard Johnson, guy that opened the gate.
Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon. I don't know what to say about him.
How do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered? I guess the Marine Corps, simplify, always faithful to my country and to my wife, to my community.
When'd you come to Bartlesville?
We were in bad health, stuck out in the country. When we got back, I thought I wanted to be in the country. We built a house and everything. And I had allergies to cedar trees. And we were surrounded by them. It was right in the middle of the
Is it down in Bacoshi?
Wilburton.
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 Yeah.
And anyway, we were sick all the time. And something just kept gnawing at me. And, you know, we didn't owe a penny on nothing. And the VA finally, you know, got everything squared away with me. And we just jumped in the car and started up west of Oklahoma and worked our way around and ended up here in Bartlesville. And spent the night, just fell in love with it. We met so many people, it was just so friendly. And it was close to doctors. My wife was diagnosed with cancer in February, breast cancer. And then I'd been battling with the VA for my stomach for 5 years, 2 years suffering. I was scared to eat. I was losing weight. And within 1 year of being up here, she got diagnosed. She's cancer-free. They took care of that. They fixed my stomach from a CT that the VA did. Rushed me into, the very next day, rushed me into the emergency room and did surgery. I had an intestine that was tied up in a knot. I was cutting. And I was just suffering. And he got that taken care of. He said, if you would have just lifted something the wrong way or done something, he said, by the grace of God, you're here and didn't do that, or you wouldn't have been here. He said, you would have died. And we're feeling good. We're getting healthy again. I believe this is where the Lord wanted us.
Yeah.
We know that this is where the Lord parked us.
Well, sir, this is an excellent interview.
Well, I wasn't too sure how it was going to turn out because, like I said, I kind of suppressed in
Oh, yeah, yeah,
first 15 years, you know, that I was out.
yeah.
I suppressed everything with alcohol. But my lovely wife sat me down one day and she said, me or the alcohol? I chose her. She's been battling with me for 48 years now, almost 49.
Well, sir, I want to thank you for your service and thank you for the interview.
Well, I appreciate it. I was glad that I could do something, you know. I don't know how things work. Oh, and you asked for a picture.
Oh, yeah.
There's,
Oh, yeah.
will that work?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's San Diego. I'm not sure. I think it is.
Okay.
And I know I was 18 there. I turned 18 in San Diego.
Okay. Well, again, this is October 31st, 2019. My name is Joe Todd. This has been an interview with Dale W.T. Goines in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Thank you. Well, that's...